view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willies, the host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you as soon as I get all the pieces connected and working this afternoon. It's a crazy day because I don't know how it goes. Anyway, we got a great show for you today. How's everybody doing? I trust everybody's doing fine. Welcome aboard. Let me get to all my channels here. Chat. Let's see. Welcome aboard, Patrick Magner in Houston, Texas. He says, meow. I always wondered why he starts with a meow. You see, I even got the sound right, my brother. We also have AVQ who says, taking a snow day, listening from AFK. Hey, brother, great. I'm glad you're having this great day. I'm going to click on your thing in a minute. Yvette Avery by the way, Brandon is in New York, Brooklyn, New York. Magner is in Houston, Texas. We got Yvette Avery Herod out of Atlanta, Georgia, La Preciosa. We also have Paul Fleming out of Powder Springs, Georgia. In the house, Lee the Bearcat, my favorite MAGA. Oh, well, one of my favorite MAGAs. You give me hell, but I'm going to change you. Not I'm going to change you. You going to change you at some time. Forgive me for saying that. I can't change a damn person, but you going to change you. Because you're going to start seeing quite a few things, and it's going to start pretty soon, my brother Lee the Bearcat. You're going to start seeing it pretty soon. And you know what? Open arms here, brother. Your family. We're all family here. Anyway, also Lee Grant is in from Montgomery County, my other MAGA. That's going to change himself as well. We are Joe from Los Angeles, California is in the house. Cheryl Elkins, my star from Massachusetts, who is running our Zoom coffee. She's going to have a link for you guys to sign up. If you throw it out, if you go to Substack, she has a link for you to sign up for the Coffee with Egberto. Elkin says, hello, everyone. The first Zoom coffee chat with Egberto has been scheduled for all those that can't get into Houston to meet up with Egberto Friday the 6th of March at between 7 and 9 p.m. Central. You can sign up at, and you know what, Cheryl, I'll take that link and I will also add it into the other chat. You know, she was so kind. Cheryl was so kind in her support for our fund drive at KPFT. She said, you know what, I'm going to have, Egberto, we're going to get a Zoom for everybody. Look, it's a gimmick, right? We're trying to collect and support the station, and she was wonderful. Lagoon Calderon, welcome aboard. Jacques Samuel, welcome aboard. My brother Bruce, brother from another mother, is in the house. He says, it's a crazy day. Let's see what Las Gallinas ponen. Maybe put a 50% tariff. You know, gallinas is chicken, brother. I think you know that. All right, what else we got here? Bruce says, when you have time, check this out. It could be a path forward for the future of mankind. Hey, Bruce, send it in a text if you don't mind, because this stuff kind of scrolls off sometimes before I get a chance to get it. Jennifer Hunter, welcome aboard. Samuel, I like to tell folks hi. If you don't want me to call me out, say, hey, shut up. I don't want you to call me out. But I just love being around folks, all that good stuff. Cyber Chuck is in the house. Cyber Chuck's meaning Charlie Lindahl. He's going to call in a little bit after our first video. He's going to call in to tell us about some so far good Democratic numbers in otherwise Republican areas. AVQ says New York City requires mandatory documentation for all public employment for address verification and payroll. Thank you for that. Okay, I tell you what. There's a voter, and I played this morning. I got to play it again. A voter that was denied her right to vote. And I think this is going to be quite an interesting thing. Check it out. Then we'll take it on the other side. Many haven't seen it yet. For those who have seen it, hey, it's worth a second watch. Here we go. Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. As you guys know, I've been speaking a whole lot about voting lately, and I've been telling folks what they really have to do going forward because of the state that we're in and what our state has been doing with voter rolls. This is a classic example. I'm honored to have Pamela McCrae on with us this morning. Pamela, I saw a video that she made after attempting to vote, and I said, I've got to find this woman and let her tell her story live. How you doing, Pamela? Welcome to
Hi.
Politics Done Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I am doing well. I thank you for reaching out because we need to spread the word because awareness is key.
Well, let me tell you, first of all, I want to thank you for what you did, because a lot of people go into these voter booths or the voter areas, and they're told they can't vote or they're not registered. And what they do is they go home.
They leave.
They leave. And what has to happen is every single person that encounters what you encountered must do what you did.
Okay, y'all, they already starting with the BS in Texas. I'm down here to vote. I came the first day of early voting, which is today. They're telling me I'm not registered. I'm sorry, ma'am, I just voted in the presidential election. I've voted in every election since I've been here. And now I'm magically not registered. You said we needed a passport to vote. No problem, ma'am. Now you said I can't use this because it's not pulling anything up. My name isn't in here, this, that, and the third. I need to go and get my driver's license. Okay, I'm going to walk back to the car and get my license, but I'm going to tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to leave here without voting. Listen, baby, tighten up and get it right. Call who you need to call, do what you need to do. Because today, I'm voting, boo-boo. This day, I shall vote. This day shall not end without me voting. You understand me? Because I'm following the rules, I'm following the regulations, I'm doing what you said I need to do, the whole 9 yards. So at the close of this day, I'm going to have that little on my chest. Say it with your chest, because I'm voting today.
Tell us your story.
Well, it's interesting because this is something that I've always been passionate about. And one of the first things I did when I moved to Texas was register to vote. So, and I don't miss a beat. I keep up with all of those things. So when I got there and I had my passport in hand, and the reason I went with my passport first in lieu of my driver's license was because I'd heard two other women saying that they needed a passport and they didn't have a passport. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just grab my passport. And that's what I did. So I grabbed my passport, I go on in, and when I get there with my passport in hand, and I hand it to them, and they're like, well, we can't find you. And I'm like, well, that's not possible, was my first, literally, I'm like, well, that's not possible. And so I said, well, try again, do something else. Look, I'm saying, try another computer. Because because in this moment, you're telling me something that should not be happening.
Right.
And I'm a resolution type girl. So this is what you're saying, but I know that this isn't correct. So let's try another avenue was immediately where my mind went. And so they fumbled and called someone else over. And so now it's three of them. And I'm like, well, we need to call somebody because I'm registered to vote. I just voted. And so she calls a number and she speaks with someone and they're telling her they don't have me. And I'm telling her, so I'm still adamant about the fact that that's not possible. So at this point, I'm like, I just said it. I'm like, well, that's a lie. And so I'm flustered because I need to leave to travel home. And you're telling me I'm not registered to vote, but I know if I miss this, I'm not going to be able to early vote. So at this point, I am aggravated. But of course, you can't show it. You can't be what they would deem
the angry black woman. Yes.
that,
Right.
that's
You can say anything here. That's fine.
okay. So, because even though I'm aggravated, I'm still smiling. I'm still really nice, but I'm hotter than a bowl of grits on the inside. So, and you got to excuse my old sayings. I'm from,
I love grits, not to worry.
okay, great. So you have a driver's license. Are you even registered in the state of Texas? Maybe you thought you registered, but you're not registered. So at this point, I'm like, you guys said that a passport was needed, but now you're telling me that I need to get a driver's license. I'm like, okay. At this point, I'm walking back out to my car, but I'm so livid. It's very rare that I do anything on TikTok, but I just grabbed my phone because I had it and I posted the video. And let me say this, the video was posted from a place of, I'm not going to be turned around. I'm not going to shut up.
That's what I loved about it. That is what I loved about your video.
Thank you. Because it was just a moment. And when I did that, I was feeling every bit of what I posted, because in that moment, I knew that I could not let them. Now I'm determined, because I feel like you're trying to take something from me. And I can't let you do that. I just wanted to let people know, hey, look, if you're going to vote, be completely prepared, because I'm in here with a passport. And you're telling me that you can't pull me up with a passport, which everyone knows that a passport supersedes your driver's license. And then my car was parked so far away. I'm like, I'm going to get my steps in today. I literally was saying things to myself, because I knew that no matter what, I was going to vote that day. You were not.
So you got your license out of your car and you went back.
I went back.
And what happened?
Back. They were like, oh, I said, yeah. And I posted a subsequent video. And in that subsequent video, you can hear me saying, yeah, I knew I was going to come back, because I knew I was coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was not going to be one of those people that leave, because think about this. How many of us leave?
Most.
We just leave.
Most people, when they said, well, you're not on the rolls, they don't bother. Or even if they don't bother. And that is what they're counting on in Texas. They're counting to say, oh, we made a mistake to take you off the rolls. I'm sorry. Well, no. I mean, everybody has to act. But tell me how the story ended, because I want to give some advice after you say that.
I went back in, and unfortunately, and this is one thing that I say too, those provisional ballots are a trap. It is a setup.
Mm-hmm.
Because with a provisional ballot, that does not necessarily mean that your vote will be counted.
Right.
And people need to know that. And the only reason I took that provisional ballot was because, and had I known, I was coming home to South Carolina, where I'm originally from, and I had a 20-hour drive. But had I known that the funeral was going to be a couple of days later, I would have waited an extra day so that I could have voted the regular way with a regular ballot. Because if I'd waited, I wouldn't have had to do the provisional ballot.
Right.
I had to leave, which is why it was important for me to vote that day. Then I did the provisional ballot. And everyone needs to know, and I know you're aware of this, a provisional ballot just means they provide you a ballot. That's all. Provision. They made provision by providing you a ballot.
And it may or may not count. Now, I want to tell the audience something, because this is so important. One of the reasons I said 8 weeks before the election, check that you are registered at your voter registrar. In the case of Texas, you just have to go to the tax assessor's office here in Texas. Every week, make sure you are registered to vote and your name shows up, and take a picture of the screen that shows you are registered. You do it every week. 33 days, because you have to be registered 30 days before the election. 33 days before the election. Measure it every day and make sure you are on the ballot, and take a picture of that. If on day 29 before the election, day 28, day 27, you're no longer there, you raise hell. What that means is you go to the media, and you also go to the voter registration office and show the pictures. I should be there. You better get me back on the rolls at all cost. And you publicize it. Get in touch with me. Get in touch with all independent media. But it must be done. What you did, Pamela, I think is so important, because I think what you did for awareness is better than anything I could do in the media. Because what happens is people see that, and in you, they say, that's me.
Yeah.
And that is what is so important about what you do. Now, Pamela, you mentioned that after you did your video, you got a lot of messages in your inbox from people who were having the same problem. Most importantly, you said you had a dialogue with a person who left, and after speaking to you, tell us
Yeah.
the story.
I had a dialogue with a young woman. She inboxed me. She saw my video and she told me what happened to her. And she was frustrated because she was not able to vote. I told her, I said, no, ma'am. I said, here's what I need you to do. So I told her what to do. I said, get everything that you have. And she was like, well, I don't have a passport. And I think at that moment, she was telling me that they'd ask her for one or whatever. I don't remember exactly. But the point was, she could not vote. And I told her she could. I told her to get all of her documents and go back. And she said, well, they're not going to let me do it. And the bottom line is, once we dialogued, I walked her through exactly what to do. She went back and she was able to, not a provisional, she cast a regular ballot. And she came on my live. I did a TikTok live yesterday, and she came on my live and let me know that she was able to vote and that she did, in fact, vote. It took her a while because she inboxed me back personally and let me know, I still went through, but I voted, and she did not do the provisional like I told her. I told her not to accept the provisional. She didn't. She was able to actually cast a ballot. So it's the things like that that make what I did. And I didn't really think, let me be clear, I didn't think I was doing anything. I was just telling people, because this is something I'm so passionate about, and I just wanted to spread the word. And I had no clue that this thing would take off like it did. It took on a life of its own, and which is why I'm here with you. But when people inbox me, when they tell me that this happened to me, then I feel that, and I just want to help. I just want to go through the screen or go wherever they are, because there's an influx of people from not just Texas. This is happening everywhere.
So I want to thank you, first of all, for taking your time out here to tell us this story, and also to show folks that they have to go out there at all costs and vote. Anything you'd like to tell the audience before we close?
Remain vigilant, because anything that someone fights you for has to have some sort of value to it. No one fights for something that has no value. And also, we say our votes are being suppressed, but they will remain suppressed unless we raise our voices. Suppression occurs because we are silent. Suppression comes from silence. Let's raise hell, good hell, get in good trouble, and stop the silence of suppression. When we're silent, we suppress ourselves.
Pamela McCray, thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, that was Pamela McCray. I found her on, I was scrolling through TikTok and her passionate video came out, and I said, I need to talk to her. Hey, Charlie, call in and tell me your story now. Pamela, thank you. Yes, then I saw your pieces on that thing. I'll get to them in a minute. I also saw the stuff from E2247 on actually that day. Let's go ahead. All right, Charlie, how you doing? Tell me your story. Turn it down.
Hello, Alberto.
Yeah, talk to me. Tell me, you told me we have turned the volume down on your stuff, but you told me that you had some good news as far as voting in Texas. Go ahead and let me hear it, my brother.
Yes, here's what I heard from the chair of the Montgomery County Democratic Party. More Democrats and Republicans have voted in the early voting so far. That's statewide by 100,000 statewide. That is coming from the Democratic chair of Montgomery County.
So my
And
question
the
to you is,
voter turnout.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What? Go ahead.
No,
ahead.
I mean, I interrupted you. I thought you were pausing. So go ahead and finish your statement, sir.
Oh, I'm just saying that right now, in Conroe, in the Woodlands, at several precincts, the voting record is much higher, and we're talking 300% in 3 different precincts so far. That's recorded.
Now you're talking about Democratic voters as well, or tell me exactly what you mean by that.
I'm telling you that Democratic turnout is up 300% in several precincts, including the Woodlands, which is where I'm at. We had 9,000 people is the official count, but the Democratic Party in Montgomery County, whom I just talked to, said it's more like 15,000, and that's a record against the record right now for Democratic votes in the Woodlands, or in Montgomery County rather. The last time we had this many people was 2008.
And that was when Obama really activated a whole lot of people.
Correct.
I remember that well.
Correct.
I remember that well.
Great. I'm just telling you that the turnout statewide is greater. More Democrats and Republicans have voted in the primary election. That's statewide, and that's so far. We haven't gotten everything in yet. We haven't done provisional. We haven't done mail-in ballot. That doesn't include mail-in ballots.
But you know, the thing about it is that there are a lot of Republicans voting isn't anything new, right? But what I'm starting to see, because if we take a look at what happened in the Remit race in Tarrant County, Remit, I placed I put the graph on the screen that showed there were a lot of Republicans. There were more Republicans than Democrats that voted in that election. And guess what happened? Remit didn't win by 1 point. Remit won by 14 points, which actually says that a lot of our brothers and sisters that are Republican are actually getting woke. They're being awoken. And not because you see a Republican vote means that Republican vote is going for Republicans. Now, in the case of right now, because these are primaries in Texas, a lot of Republicans that are voting in the Republican primaries are probably going there to try to get their preferred candidate. But again, when you have people that are going to vote for somebody like Paxton, you know, right now, Crockett is ahead of Paxton in all the polls by 4 points or more. That's shocking. That is shocking. So what can I say? Anyway, thank you for the call, Charlie. I appreciate the information. All right, my brother.
Thanks for everything you do and all your audience. And please pay attention.
Thank you, brother. Let me tell you guys, Charlie is a warrior out here, an activist out here, works with several organizations, including he's the vice president of the Houston Peace and Justice Center. Thank you very much for all the work you do. All right, brother? Peace.
You bet. Peace.
All right, folks. I have another video, and this. Well, let me read because this stuff here I put it together. I'm trying to put E2247s together, but E2247, you got me all over the place. Guys, read E2247 in the regular chat, please. The guy has me all over the place. Love him to death. But let me just read one of his stuff that says, on February 21st, 2006, a 42,000 strong NYSNA, New York State Nurses Association, 15,000 nurses working in Mount Sinai Hospital, Mount Sinai Mountainside, and West Center and New York Presbyterian won a 41-day strike for gains on staffing, workplace violence protection, AI safeguards, and pay increases. End of one of the longest nurse strikes in history. longest nurses strikes in history. You know what that tells us? Activation works, unions work. Michael, 1,216,000 provisional ballots were rejected, not counted in 2024. How many elections could that have swung, I wonder? I don't know. If the purges challenges and ballot rejections were random, it wouldn't matter. It's anything but random. For example, an audit by the state of Washington found that a black voter was 400% more likely than a white voter to have their mail-in ballot rejected. Rejection of black in-person votes, according to U.S. Civil Rights Commission study in Florida, ran 14.3%, or 1 in 7 ballots cast. The crucial statistic is that not everyone's ballots gets disqualified. One study done for the United States Civil Rights Commission found that a black person will be 900% more likely to have their mail-in or in-person ballot disqualified than a white voter. Here's an ugly number. According to the U.S. Elections Assistance Commission, EAC, in 2016, when 2.5 million provisional ballots were cast, a breathtaking 42.3% were never counted. And that's what Pamela was saying, right? Think about that. Over 1 million Americans lost their vote, though notably, not one was charged attempting to vote illegally. And that was in 2016. Before lost their vote, though notably, not one was charged with, I skipped. Before the vigilante challenges and before millions more had been purged from rolls leading to 2024 election. And here's the statistic that matters most. Black, Hispanic, or Asian American voters are 300% more likely than white voters to be shunted to a placebo provisional ballot. And you know why he says placebo? Did you hear Pamela say placebo as well? Or not? I don't know if you heard her say that, or I don't even know if I kept that in the video. But in effect, it is to pacify you. Don't raise hell at the voter polls. All right, let's see what else we got here. What else we got? If the other chat has anything that I need to read out real quick. Did you read Jess Craven on Blue Butterfly section of camps for girls under 18 years old that no one outside DHS is allowed to access? Fuentes is also talking about breeding gulags for men to rape girls. What is going on? 55 billion for incinerators. You have to take some of that with salt, but again, you research everything, right? But $55 billion for incinerators, that just sounds silly, right? I mean, that just sounds silly. There are certain things that it's not even worth researching because, come on. All right, let's see what else we got here. Para ver, ¿qué más tenemos aquí? I tell you what, let's go to the next video. I want to highlight my good friend here. She does a lot of grassroots stuff here in Kingwood. So I want to play what I did with her on Thursday about the the next No Kings that will be occurring here in Kingwood. She had a lot to say. I wanted to play it on Friday, but I had too much to cover. So let's go ahead and play it today, if I can maybe get to it.
In the leader of the indivisible Kingwood, you have a whole lot of big stuff that you guys did, but so much more that you have going on in the next few weeks. Tell me a little bit first, what have you been doing?
Well, we've been going around the county following Dan Crenshaw. Went to his town hall in spring. Of course, it was a repeat performance of what he did in Kingwood, except that many more people were against what he had to say, and they were tired of the rhetoric. We've been having candidates come out and talk to our group on our bi-weekly meetings. And
you had a great meeting last night,
yeah,
right?
we did. We had 3 people come in and talk last night. It was great. Everyone we've had out has made comments that I'm very proud of. They come in the room and they hang for a little while, and then they say, man, this group has such a great vibe. And that makes me feel awesome because we do have a good vibe. Our group is very cohesive. We're all very different, but we mesh really well.
Well, I mean, remember, your group is the first group in Kingwood that has brought out 1,000 people to a protest. We've had all kind of groups around.
True.
And this is the first group that has done that. So I think that your performance speaks for who the group is.
Right. The group is awesome. let's see. We've got No Kings coming up on March 28th.
What are you doing to plan for that?
Well, we are working pretty hard, actually. We are anticipating maybe having over 1,000 people. Of course, they're spread out along the street. So we have formed a safety team comprised of 18 people. We've purchased walkie-talkies. We have a whole system that we're building as far as safety. We've got a group of 12 people that will be doing crowd counts. What else? We're trying to get the word out. We're up on the website for No Kings on their map. You can find us. You can sign up. I don't know. That's all I know right now.
Well, I mean, we'll keep people posted. But look, right now you're doing this is a weekly, I don't want to call it a protest, a weekly engagement with near Dan Crenshaw's office. This is a politician that is doing very little for us. Correct. There's a good Democrat that's running against him that I interviewed a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, we need to get him out here.
Sean Finney.
Yes, because no one in the area knows about him.
Right.
So we're very concerned about that. And we need him to get out here and knock on some doors and meet these people in this community.
Well, I'm going to tell you to look into the camera and give Sean Finney a word.
Come on, Sean Finney. We need to know who you are. My people are asking about you.
Well, like I said, we did an interview with him, and I'm pretty sure Sean's going to come out here. He's been all over the county.
So.
This is the thing about it is Crenshaw's district is huge. It goes from here, I think it goes down to Clear Lake, if I recall.
I think so. I don't know what the new map exactly.
I don't know what the new map says, yeah.
But yeah, he's got a lot of ground to cover and he needs to get his name out there. I don't think Crenshaw's going to make it through this primary. I think Toth is going to get the nomination. So we're going to be fighting against somebody who's even more right-wing.
Well, that gives us actually an opening.
Yeah, maybe, because not everybody's going to want that type of governance.
Right. I think people are getting tired now. They're starting to see what that type of governance represents.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope they're seeing that.
I think so. If you take a look at the response that you guys are getting, yes, you get a whole lot of the nuts every so often, like that lady that just passed.
Right.
But most of what you've been seeing is people giving you a positive response.
Yes, and we're very thankful for that. We just want people to be aware that we're here. Our group has grown quite a bit, substantially actually, online. And it's because we're out here. They see us and then they post on Facebook, who are those people on the corner, So we say, hey, it's us. And then they want to be involved.
Well, look, Cindy Hendrickson, you keep on doing this excellent work. You, Vicky, name me a few more others.
Oh, Christina. Oh, my gosh. Jackie, Jeff. I mean, we have so many hardcore, stable group members, and we can throw down a protest in 5 minutes. We just get in the car and we go and we show up, and I can count on a handful of people to organize themselves now, which is fantastic.
Well, you got sick the other day and your group performed for you.
They did, and last night we had our meeting. We had candidates, but Greg Abbott was having a Tea Party festival over here, and we had a handful of people show up there. And Christina, who's our brave young woman, went into the meeting and managed to get a couple questions in and video, and it was fantastic.
I'll be playing that on my show today.
Awesome.
But look, thank you very much, Cindy, for all that you do, okay?
Thanks, Egberto.
Absolutely. So that these people are working their behinds off. Let me tell you, they're not only working for Democrats and progressives. There have been encounters there with Republicans who are like, we are fed up. We are fed up. And eventually what you're going to have left is just those, that those kids that no matter what happens, just to be stubborn, they'll burn themselves just to be stubborn and not see the light. But people are seeing the light. So I want to tell everybody, heads up, high, chin up, chin up. The change is a coming. They are going to try everything to disrupt. They're going to try everything to scare. They're going to try everything to cheat. And all I got to tell you is chin up. Chin up. Be civil. Don't do what they want you to do. They want you to become as evil. They want you to become as hateful. They want you to become as difficult as they are. Put a smile on. Put a smile on. Love everybody. I'm telling you, it works. I mean, they look. Let me tell you, Trump, when that fall comes and his people see that he's been had. I did a tape of a former MAGA guy that was on with Katie Tur earlier that I'm going to try to process to play for you guys tomorrow. But when this, a lot of these people are starting to find out they've been had. And as they continue to find out they've been had, God help us. Anyway, anyway. I did a piece, this weekend, right? I was thinking and I'm like, damn, you guys hear me talk about capitalism and its ills and all of that. And for me, it's always like, I wish I could explain this better. I wish I could explain this better. And, I finally said, you know what? I know what I want to say. But as you guys know, I program computers, right? So I could program a pie chart and have it grow with the numbers. And then this is funny. This is funny as hell. I don't use Excel a lot, so I know Excel you can do things, but I don't know how to use Excel to generate a dynamic video, right? In other words, I need to show a dynamic pie chart that changes over time, etc. I haven't learned how to do that on Excel. I've never needed to do that, but I know how to do that perfectly in C++. So I'm about to break out. I'm looking around for my old executables. I took all my programming languages off. C++ gone, Visual Basic gone, Pascal gone, PLM gone. All the languages that I used to program in, I took off the computer, taking a lot of space, and I'm never going to use it again. My programs are now, for the most part, in the public domain. So I'm saying I'm going to fire this stuff up and just write an application to write this chart the way I want. Then I started thinking, I'm like, wait a minute. I probably can tell ChatGPT, create me a pie chart and give it all the parameters that I want it to do and have it grow the way it grows, etc. And then I could use a magical word. And after you create that pie chart, turn it into a video. I said, wait a minute, let me see if it'll do. No, I don't do Lisp, nor Python, although I understand Python. So I said, let me go ahead and do this. And voila, I gave it all the parameters, the instructions, and so forth as far as what the formula is for this chart that I want to build. And I did it. And then I was able to explain capitalism and how it devours, the danger, and how it reacts. I want you all to be honest with me. I did an 8-minute piece along with this video. Tell me if I made sense to you, or what do I need to make it more understandable? I am trying, because this is it. I tell you what, listen to it and then tell me if you got it. Capitalism has a problem, a math problem, that very few business schools, if any, discuss it. And why would I make a blanket statement like that? When I hear most of these capitalist economists speak on TV, the way they discuss growth and all these issues, they actually act as if it is a thing that is sustainable into the foreseeable future. So what I did is I said, wait a minute. We've been talking about the wealth being transferred from the poor and the middle class to the rich, and somehow we think we can solve that problem by not taking important measures like the people don't like to hear the word redistribution, but let's be honest. That's what it really is. It has to be redistribution because of the mathematical formula under which the system operates. So it's either you have capitalism with huge distributions, or you have an economic system that is what I really prefer, a free enterprise economic system with a strong social safety net. Well, here's the thing. It is hard for people to really understand what the capitalist growth looks like, right? So I went ahead and said, you know what? I need a dynamic chart. I need a chart that you can see over time based on the actual numbers, or rather, based on numbers that we see in real life, what happens to our society. Well, so far, if you take a look at the way graphs are done for what's called exponential growth, it starts very slowly and then it just takes off. That is just how exponential growth works. Let me give an example. If something doubles in size every year, it is simply times 2 every year. But that is exponential growth because check this out. First growth, 1 plus 1, 2. Second growth, 2 plus 2, it's now 4. 4 plus 4, 8. 8 plus 8, 16. 16 plus 16, 32. 32 plus 32, 64. Each time that doubling, that growth rate goes up real quickly. By the time we get to, let's say, 256, the next one is 512, the next one is 1024. And you get to millions in iterations rather quickly. But that is better and easily understood with a graph. So what I went and did is prepared a dynamic graph. I went ahead to ChatGPT and I said, I need to get a pie chart of a growing economy in which the middle class grows at something like 2% as the wealthy grows at 7%, which is about average. Those people who have wealth and capital, their wealth grows at 7%, and the rest of us, grow at about 2% or so. That's the size of the economy. All right. So I want you all to see how long it takes for the wealthy to get it all. And this isn't conjecture. This is being proven out by what is currently happening in our current economy. So take a look at this and you'll see what I'm talking about. Here's the growth. Year by year. Watch how fast. We are up to year 11. By year 11 from now, the wealthy will have half the wealth. By year, by year 29 from now, 29 years from now, on these current growth rates, the wealthy will have owned everything. This is not theory. This is not a question. This is just math. But how do you get there? How do these people, how can their wealth grow so much faster than everybody else, the people who are actually working? We have designed the system that way. And until we change that and stop believing the crap, stop believing that somehow all of you have the same access to become that wealthy person that will be within that 1% or within that 10%. Most of you won't. Most of you won't because it's a club that you have to be invited to. I know a lot of people think this is a meritocracy, that I can base my life on merit. You can't. You have to be invited. You go to the right schools. After you leave the right schools, you get on with the right company. And some executive in that company say, I see promise in you. Come join us. It doesn't happen because you're meritorious necessarily. It doesn't happen because you know so much. It happens because you were chosen. Somebody chose you. It happens in music. It happens in everything. There are a lot better singers than Beyonce. There are a lot better singers than Taylor Swift. But they're the ones that were granted permission to excel. And you may say, no, they did it all on their own. No, the systems opened up so that their talent could be realized vastly. There are many others right now whose talents, and I decided to go with music there, but the same applies to business everywhere. Until we change the entire system in such a manner. Let's give another example with regards to healthcare. And I'm just going to use Medicare as an example. Medicare is the traditional Medicare is a social program. Medicare Advantage is a private program. The private program in the aggregate costs more than the public program. The private program collects more, given that it's subsidized, that private program is subsidized by the government. Medicare subsidizes Medicare Advantage. That is saying directly that the government has chosen, of course, after having been paid off by the private sector, to give your money to the private companies who charge more for healthcare in order to give that money to the wealthy, the people who own the insurance companies, the people who own the healthcare companies, etc. It is capitalism by design. It is unsustainable. Eventually, it takes it all, as you saw in the chart. And when it takes it all, what you become is renters to everything. Your labor is rented out, and it moves on from antiseptic slavery to operational slavery. Let me show you that chart again, because, folks, this is what happens at a growth rate of 7% in 29 years. And by the way, between all those years, people keep getting poorer and poorer and poorer. This is what happens. What you're seeing there is a complete takeover of the economic system by the 1%, simply based on the current growth rate. Brothers and sisters, this is not conjecture. This is fact. And until we as a society learn this deep on the inside, we will stop being hoodwinked by all of those that are trying to plaster those who want a true, effective economic system into one that works. Absolutely so. Anyway, folks, Cheryl Elkins is collecting those those names for folks who are going to form part of our on March 6th of our Coffee with Egberto over Zoom, and she is going to moderate it. She's going to take it over and do all the good stuff that we need to do to have fun together as the family that we are. So sign up with what she's doing right now. Sign up. She made a great thing in saying, let's go ahead and prepare this. So please sign up with, she's putting a link in there. And again, it's just, us getting together and having a chat, getting a little bit more intimate than the whole big thing. And you can be a part of that as well. Thank you, Cheryl, for all that you do, sis. I do appreciate that. I want to address something that Lita Beercat said, because I got to break that down. When he says victim mentality is not ideal, and that's absolutely true. But victim mentality, first of all, telling the truth about what's the chains, telling the truth about the chains that's holding you back isn't victim mentality. It is just the truth. That's all. I'm going to start with women. I'm not going to start with ethnicity. I'll start with women. Is it true that women wear a chain and a ball in corporate America? Yes. There are a lot of women that superseded. They went above and beyond. They fought. I have a good friend. She became a big executive in an oil company. Good friend. But she had to pay the price that men generally don't have to pay. She pretty much had to put her family on the back burner when males usually get help implicitly, and society implicitly give them an upper hand, whereas they generally don't have to sacrifice families the way women do. Likewise, I've sat in meetings many a time. I'm not saying a lot of women don't have success, but think about how many more women would have success if they didn't have the chains on. The truth, women, think about how many more women would have success. The other thing is, as a black dude, I wrote a book called, what is it called? I'm going crazy, but Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. Why did I write that book? Was it because I felt a victim? No. I accomplished all the things I wanted to accomplish, you know, form a company, did a whole lot of stuff. If I were to point to you all the products that I've ever built, you know, a lot of stuff. Of course, nothing to show for it now because the last 15 years is what I've been doing. But this is not a victimhood thing. This is saying, let's be truthful. The system affects people of color profoundly, women profoundly, the disabled profoundly. And unless one can be honest to look at that, right? Then the truth of the matter is, we will remain in this state that we are. Cheryl said, my experience in high tech, my all women teams kick butt, done under budget and ahead of schedule. We know how to prioritize our time. But Cheryl, tell me if you don't agree with this, because this is what I've found, right? I remember my first job in corporate America. When I went out there and and Pat Domain, she wanted me so bad. I really was, the job called for a master's in computer science. I had a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. But with computer background, strong computer background. I was typing computer language from the time I was in college, right? So she liked all of that, and she loved my work ethic. I didn't know that then, but she loved my work ethic. And she hired me, and the VP called me into his office, shut the door. I had no clue. I'm a 22-year-old guy. Shut the door. And then went ahead and says, I don't know why Pat likes you. This is what the VP is telling me. And this isn't something that doesn't happen a lot. So Leader Bearcat, you need to speak to people who have lived it. You have not lived any of this at all. You live the life. I imagine you're a white guy. You live the life of a white guy that doesn't ever have to go through these other things, right? And this is not a knock on you. This is just how it is. You didn't create the system, but it's how it is. So listen to those who have been aggrieved by the system. I'm putting some time in this because I think it's necessary. So here's the deal, brother Leader Bearcat. The manager called, the VP says, I don't know why Pat likes you so much, but she wants you. But I'm going to tell you something. And I barely ever knew about affirmative action and all of that. I'm some foreign kid that came here to the States to go to college and decided to stay. Okay? And he throws me into the office and he says, I don't know why she likes you, but if you don't prove yourself in 6 months, you are out of here, and I don't want to hear a damn thing about affirmative action. Here's the truth. I don't even think I knew what affirmative action was then. I don't even think I knew what it was, if I recall. All I know is I left his office trembling, right? And let me tell you better. That 6-month project, I did in 2 months. No kidding. TDS 11. I never forget that. TDS 11 on the PDP 11 computer. I made an operation sonic tool. I mean, I kicked ass with that program that ran on a PDP 11. All because I'm running scared. After finishing that project in 2 months, Pat comes into my office, and we're talking. And by the way, don't worry about that crap he told you about having to be on probation. You're here, right? That's the longest job I ever had, 2 years. I never stayed at jobs. I lasted in corporate America 5 years. I had too much of a big mouth and all of that to stay there 5 years, and then I formed my own company. Went to China, built a. I mean, that's a long story, another time. But the idea is, think about how many people that weren't wired like I was, Mr. Bearcat. I left home with a strong mind. I left home with a family that told me I was better than no one, but no one was better than me, and I could accomplish anything that I want to accomplish. If you were a black person living in America, If you are a Latino living in America, that is not what you hear in the aggregate. And why? Because that wasn't a lived experience. And that's what many of you don't understand. That has an impact on people. So I excelled. And a lot of other people that you see, they have that extra thing that a parent may have given them, or something that allowed them to excel above and beyond. But if you were to read my book, Tribulations of an Afro-Latino, the amount of crap that I've went through, not only in America, but people who had the wrong impression of black folks in America as they're doing business, you would understand. And this happened to women. This happened to all over. And I usually start with women because guys like you, the first thing you'll say, there you're playing the race card. No, we're playing the prejudice card. That's what we're playing. We're playing the reality of what goes on. Bruce says to see bigger picture, Google simulate capitalism to see if it's sustainable. Very good, Bruce. I think I know where you're getting me. Cheryl says, yes, Egberto, yes, you need to have a strong sense of self and a thick skin, but it's demoralizing. You have to have an actively combat it yourself so it doesn't eat you alive. And that's the story of my life, right? I'm a professional. I own a company. I did all these things, and I still get followed in the store. Do you get followed in the store, Lita Bearcat? If I go to any store in Kingwood, and I walk into the store, I see eyes on me. Don't you think we know that? Don't you think we see that? Come on, man. And by those of you who put colored glasses on, and it makes you feel better to say, well, that is in your mind, or you just have to excel or pull up yourself by your bootstraps. Let me tell you why the top person in just about every field is a woman or a minority. Let me tell you why. It's not anything against, let's say, white guys or anything. It's that you guys have made these people better. They've had to be so much better in general that they are, in fact, better now. Because you've done it. You've told them to be a pilot, you have to be better than the guy next to you. You have told them to be a golfer, you have to be better than the guy next to you. You've told them that to be a tennis star, you have to be better than the guy next to you. What do you think that does? It creates strength. The strength that moves you. So the one thing I like to tell other people, right, is prejudice actually hurts the person perpetrating the prejudice more so than the others. You know why? Because you strengthen them. You empower them. So keep looking at things through your rose-colored glasses and watch yourself fall behind. And as you fall behind, as it's happening right now, like all those guys that are picking up guns and talking about all these foreigners taking things. No, that's not it. It's that they've allowed themselves to become less than. All right, folks. Please remember, this is a program that needs your support. Please support us. How can you support us? Go to politicsandright.com slash politicsandright.com/newsletter is the way to become a paid subscriber. If you're not on if you're on Substack, just click that subscribe button and please consider keeping us alive, keeping us doing what we do. Politicsandright.com/newsletter. I'm going to put it in both chats. And let me see, put it there, put it in the other chat as well. But we need subscribers, paid subscribers. Look, it is inexpensive. It is cheap to help us do what we're doing here and informing folks, including all my good old magas in here. Don't think that a lot of this isn't being absorbed. It's latent, but it's being absorbed. Right, Eric? I know there are certain things you think and you say, okay, I think it. But anyway, so please become paid subscribers by going to politicsandright.com/newsletter. Or if you're on Substack, just hit the subscribe button and say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Anyway, folks, got to get out of here. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this program. I am what? Come on, guys. What am I? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.